Hey, welcome to Sisterhood Check-in. I am your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and you are watching, yes, right, Sisterhood Check-in. Thank you for watching. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you click also the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. If you are watching us via Facebook, make sure you start a watch party. Make sure you click like and share and tell your girlfriends, call your girlfriends up and tell them Sisterhood Check-in is live. We have an awesome program set up today. I cannot wait to introduce my guest. But before we do that, I want to I want to actually read a scripture real quick, and then we're going to go ahead right in. We're going to get right into introducing our guest today. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys had an awesome week. I always get excited when it gets close to Sisterhood Check-in. I don't know. I just like the vibe. I like the way we start, the way we go through it. I think the more and more I do this, the more excited I get and the more I'm grateful to be an encouragement to those that are watching. So if you've been watching Sisterhood Check-in for a while, leave me a comment. Let me know how this show has helped you and how if it has helped you, if it has changed your life in any way and added any value to you. Make sure you give me some feedback. Let me know in the comments. If you are visiting us for the first time, welcome. Thank you for watching us. We're going to go ahead and start our broadcast. I'm going to start with this scripture. This is in Proverbs chapter 14, and it says, in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 8, it says, "The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools make a mock of sin, but among the righteous there is favor. The heart knoweth his own bitterness, and a stranger does not intermeddle with his joy. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. There is a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness." All right. So, and then verse 16, "A wise man feareth and departeth from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident." So I hope that really encouraged you. I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm just like so excited, y'all. I'm I'm trying to get myself calm down because I'm excited. But I want to show you guys this video this week. For some of you may be really difficult. I don't know what you're going through, but I just hope, that scripture really encouraged you and help you in some sort of way. But so before we enter our guest, I want to show you this real quick. If you had a difficult week, listen to this and I hope you be encouraged. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, Shirelle Jones. She is a mom boss. She is a mom of 3, and she is an awesome woman of God. And I cannot wait for you. I'm going to show you a clip of some of her video, Mom Boss. So I hope you watch this clip. And after this clip, we're going to introduce Shirelle Jones.
On Mom Boss.
Living the life I choose to live, working my 9 to 5, loving on my family, support the man provide. You see the sexy lady, the way I shine. I'm on my hustle, baby, I am on my grind. Living dreams while having kids, solving problems, soothing calls. Mom boss, mom boss. Running noses, running businesses, got no time for days off. Mom boss.
It's definitely a good time. It's about those times. Okay.
Are you making it? There was one. My husband actually, after he left, we have not heard from him in over a month and a half. The magazine, they did a whole spread.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Shirelle Jones. Woo! Welcome to Sisterhood Check-in, Shirelle. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to join me here on Sisterhood Check-in.
Yes, ma'am.
I love your show.
Thank you.
Oh my God. It looks like a real reality TV show. Like, what?
It is.
Like, I mean, like, that don't look like no put together ham sham backyard camera thing. That is really,
Oh no.
wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, that was a production team and sound and
Wow.
lighting.
Amazing. Wow. Well, Shirelle, before we get into talking about Bomb Boss, which I'm so super excited to talk about, help my audience and the viewers that are watching, help us understand, tell us a little bit about you and how, so that we can get an understanding so we can kind of get to know you. Tell us a little bit about Shirelle and how you got to where you are right now.
Well, I am Shirelle. Thank you again for having me on here. I am a mom of 3 rather loud children.
I understand. Trust me. I understand.
Then waited until it was like, you're live, and it was like, scene.
I go through that with my kids sometimes in the middle of broadcast. I'm like, be quiet.
Oh my God.
I understand. That's fine.
Sure
We're moms. It's okay.
Somebody's gonna bust in this door in about a few minutes. I can feel it. Just this is who I am. I can't get around it. I can't get around it.
We're moms.
Look, if there's ever been a better show to do, this is it. This is my life.
I understand.
So, but yeah, I mean, Mom Boss. I know we'll get into that later, but this has definitely been a step out of my comfort zone. And that's basically the season I'm in right now, just a transitional season. I'm 35 years old. I'm a registered nurse. I've always been very, I guess you could say, straightforward, with my career path and what I want to do. But really within the past 3 years, it's been way off course. This guy, I don't know what you're doing, but this ain't nothing I had planned. So that's just where I'm at right now. My kids, I love them to death because they keep me grounded, they keep me focused. They're getting to the point where they're holding me accountable. But I just, it's a lot.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand. I'm a mom myself, so I know there's sometimes, we're planning our life and we're just, sometimes I think that in the beginning, especially when we're moms and our kids are small, I think we're kind of in just the kind of just go stage. We're just going. And we're just going. And we don't even realize that you wake up and your kids are grown and you're like, oh man. And then you're fighting to think about man, what happened? They were just 10 and 7 and then it's because we're so used to just living and just living our day-to-day life. One of the things I've learned myself is, and it's funny because my best friend always say this, slowing down. And that's been something I've been trying to do, just wanting to not really waste I won't really say waste because I don't think you're wasting any time when you're doing things for your children and for your family. I think what I've learned is I'm learning to slow down and starting to kind of take accountability, how should I put it? Like sometimes I'm like really horrible with twisting my words, but I just want to be aware. I guess that's the best word.
Yeah.
Mindful. I want to be mindful
Very mindful.
of of just things like my older children. They're grown, they're adults, and I'm like looking, and I'm still trying to remember like when they were little, and I'm like, there are some events because of the things and turmoils and different things that I've had to go through, different transitions, that I don't quite remember certain things. So when I see them, posting different pictures or doing different, because I was working so much, I was working
Right.
on the school, and I had to sit back one day and I thought, man, I don't remember such and such at the age of 4 or 5, or I remember bits and pieces of it. And then I'll see like a picture, like in one of their little picture albums, and I'll be like, oh, I
Right.
remember that. And then it's like, so now with my 4 and 7-year-old, I get to kind of just slow down and just stare at them sometimes and just look at them and be like, I don't want to miss this moment. I want to position myself in a place to where I can enjoy them, every moment of them, and not be totally distracted. So
I know my family last year in November, we had a loss. We had a death in the family, and it was very, I want to say it was traumatizing a little bit. I mean, it was my grandfather, and he was definitely he was definitely the patriarch of the family. And I know it sounds weird to say, but I never thought that he would, pass away. Never thought. Like, I'm a nurse. I work in the ER. You know what I mean? Like, I know, this happens. This is life.
right.
But for him, it was like, I never thought that he would pass away. I
Mm,
said all that to say, in taking that for granted, I was always on a go. Go, 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 go. My grandpa called me every day. Some days I wouldn't get to talk to him. It was just, my grandpa, he's going to be there. So when he passed away, it was like, it felt like the earth still stood still.
mm,
And, but, the family is doing a lot better now. We've all done our grieving, and some days even still, we can't help but to go into deep thought about him. But it's made me stop sometimes. A lot of times it's made me stop.
yeah.
I was the one, because of, mom, boss, and work, like first thing in the morning, I'll check my phone, checking emails, checking this. Now it's like, I probably won't look at my phone till maybe like 10, unless I have an important post I need to make, or if I'm expecting something in particular. I don't want to pick up my phone until I've dropped the kids off to school, because I just
Mm,
I want to cherish that. And
mm,
I just, I don't want to miss it. And
mm,
it's been great. I mean, even when I pick them up, I don't touch my phone. We'll be in the kitchen cooking, whether, or doing laundry or cleaning up the house. I'm trying not to be on my phone and just glued to these devices as much as I.
understand.
So, but yeah, I totally understand, just being more mindful, being more aware, because it's like, I feel like as moms, especially moms in business, or, or just working moms in general, like there's so much that we have to juggle.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like, whatever is going on, it's not going to be worth missing that time with
Mm-hmm.
my kids.
Right.
So that's just my take on
Yeah,
it.
I definitely agree. What are some things that has happened in your life that has caused, besides your grandfather? That's a huge loss, and I definitely send my condolences to you and your family. Um, what are some things that, because we as women, there are certain things that drive us
Mm-hmm.
towards our vision. There's always, I believe that sometimes God put things on the inside of us that fuels us in a certain direction and causes us to say, this is the direction I'm going to go. This is the direction I want to be. What happened, or what was it? Because you're doing nursing.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing nursing, which is a very demanding, job because you have to be there? Is it what I mean, how did you become an entrepreneur, a business owner? What was it that kind of just made you, was it that you know, decided, okay, I want to do this to earn a little extra money, or was this a vision that you just kind of just say, you know, I want to be able to do something to leave a legacy for my kids? Talk to me about some of your thought process behind you becoming an entrepreneur.
Um, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know I've always wanted to work in, work for myself, be independent. And when I say always, I mean, I remember in high school, I learned how to do nails. Now, I wasn't doing no acrylic, but I get the pencils and file you down real good, give you that thickness that that we want.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I would do all of that, and I would, do the do some patterns and stuff, and then I started braiding hair. Um just like little odds and ends. Like I would say I was more of like a hustler than anything.
Mm.
Um and when I, that was as a kid, sat that down, focused on nursing, and I had I got involved with like different businesses and things like that, and there were things that were going on that I was like, I wouldn't do it like that. I wouldn't do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so really, I mean, once I just kind of got to, I was the one that would like support and push the next person's business. That's how I'll say it. I would support the next person's business.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw that things weren't going, like, dang, I wouldn't do it like that. And I would try to voice my concerns, or, share my input. And it was kind of like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know about business. You don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, it was like, let me try it. Let me do it for myself,
Mm-hmm.
Right before I pitched the show, um, a group of my friends, we do a girls trip, and we went to this reservation, this Indian reservation. And I don't know if it was the element or just the spirit there. I can never describe it, but I just felt grounded, and I felt centered.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, the next time that opportunity comes around, because it came around twice already, but the next time that opportunity comes around, I'm going to jump on it. I'm going to do it. And I had talked to my dad briefly about it, and he kind of confirmed how I was already feeling. And he was like, how I said in my post a couple of weeks ago, that there's two types of people in this world: the wish I had, or the glad I did. And it's like, even if it doesn't work out, I'm glad I tried. At least I can say, I put out a first season.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then at least what?
Yeah.
But it's been a blessing ever since. And like this time last year, the world like shut down. We had our premiere party, and then we launched, and like the next day, it was like the world just went, closed. And
Yeah.
being in quarantine was very stressful, because I felt like I had just like hit that, I'm on the go now, let's get it. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it was like, zoom, that high was
Yeah.
gone. And it just made me think, like, gosh, why does this keep happening every time I feel good about something? Why do I keep getting stopped? But that was a period from March to, I want to say, like October, November. That was a period of like just that creativity flowing, the connections being made, the resources being looked into. It was just like I was in that cocoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Now, Shirelle, I always ask, because a lot of us have gone through, have had some challenges in our life that shaped us, has shaped a certain mindset, a certain goal, a certain drive. What are some of the things that has happened to you in your life that has kind of fueled your desire to go towards a particular, especially towards moms in general, as far as, because I'm assuming that your TV show is geared towards moms that are
Mhm.
desiring to be entrepreneurs, or there are that are entrepreneurs. So what are some things? Talk to us. I want you to be a little bit transparent, a little bit of vulnerability, a
Mhm.
little bit vulnerable with us, because, and I say that because all kinds of people watch our broadcast, and so I want to make sure that everybody that comes has something to share in their experience that maybe can help another woman that might be watching be able to say, I'm in a situation like Shirelle. I work a job, I work and I'm a nurse, and they may desire to want to do entrepreneurship. Talk to us about some of the challenges that you had to go through in order for you to fulfill your dreams and your goal, even while you're working as a nurse.
I don't even know where to start with that one. The biggest challenge would be, to say it frankly, would be to get over myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's really good.
and did it go blank? It went blank on my end.
No, you're here. You're frozen, but it'll unfreeze. Okay, you're back. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, getting past that imposter syndrome. And I think
Mm-hmm.
as mothers or women in business, I think that, well, really anybody, you're always going to have that slight, worry or doubt. But just getting past that imposter syndrome. And for me also is keeping in mind of what is on the other side of fear, what is on the other side, and then also what staying comfortable looks like for me long term.
Mm. Right.
And so I love being a nurse. I love helping people, but I wasn't passionate about it.
Mm.
I always talk to my moms that are on the show. We talk a lot about like what keeps us going, what
Mm-hmm.
pushes us. What just happened?
I'm sure it's a signal. Shirelle will be back with us. She's having some signal issues, but she will be back. In the meantime, thanks for those that are watching. It looks like she's back. Shirelle, you're back. Okay, we'll give her a few seconds to come back. Um, Looks like she might be here. You there, Shirelle?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. I don't see you yet, but I do see. I do hear you.
I have no idea what happened.
Sometimes the signal does that. Sometimes it can, but the audience can still hear you. The audience
Okay.
can still.
But yeah, just realizing of just thinking of what is on the other side of fear and what staying stagnant would look like for me long term. As much as I love being a nurse, um, I didn't feel like it was my actual purpose. I know God wanted me to reach people
Mm-hmm,
and to have an impact on people,
mm-hmm,
but I feel like he wants to use more of my creativity.
mm-hmm.
For me, nursing is a science. There's,
Yes.
it's science, it's medicine, and things like that. And I'm not knocking the profession for those who absolutely love it and it's their calling, but I'm just saying for me, I love to write. I'm in my zone when I'm writing. When it's the middle of the night and I
Mm-hmm.
got my candle and my
Yeah.
Jill Scott, I am writing and I feel good and I just feel centered. Um, but yeah, just there's been a lot of challenges. Like I can't necessarily pinpoint, one thing, but it's just constantly saying, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. And
Right.
I'm doing it for my kids because I want them to I don't want them to do something just just to stay comfortable. I
Mm,
want them to maximize their own potential as well.
gotcha. I definitely understand that. Well, Shirelle, we're going to give you a chance to get your screen. We're going to take a quick break. And hopefully by the time we get back, we'll be able to have Shirelle. She's having a little bit of connection issues. So we're going to be patient and wait for her. So while she's getting her connections together, we're going to go ahead and go into a commercial, and we'll be back after this. All right, and we are back with Sisterhood Check-in with my special guest, Shirelle Jones. And we are discussing, in the first part of our segment, we were discussing and we were talking about Sherelle's life and how her passion her passion in being a boss and entrepreneurship as a registered nurse. Thank you for joining us back again, Shirelle. Your screen's still not on, but we can hear you. So we're not going to allow your screen not being there to distract us from hearing and sharing your story. Talk to us about, in this segment, we said we are going to talk about a little more about Mom Boss. So talk to us about Mom Boss. Talk to us about what you selected, even the cast members to be a part of Mom Boss.
So, I am trying to get this camera. It is bothering me, but I'm gonna keep going. Thank you for being patient with me. I don't know why it's saying this, but I'm here.
Sometimes that
So, you were asking how did we select the ladies for season 1?
Yes.
So we actually did a casting call. I want to say it was late September of 2019. And about 12 women came out. And we just asked a series of questions. There were a lot of questions that I had already, had in mind, and then my producer, she had her set. And then after that, we of course we just kind of narrowed it down to 4. This season, season 2 that's getting ready to come back, we have I want to say 2 that are no longer on this season. So we actually handpicked, or I would say we invited 2 other women to come out. And that's how we got the ladies now for season 2. Season 3, spoiler alert, we will definitely do a casting call.
Oh, okay. So you have like certain.
Hello?
Yes, I don't know if you heard me. How many women are in the first season?
4.
Okay. So in like what are the categories of women that are in the actual reality show?
So I wanted the show to highlight the different, I guess, phases of motherhood that we're in, and then also the different phases of parenting that we're in. So in season 1, you'll see a mom, talking about college tours and getting ready for things like that, and then you have one with a 2-year-old running around the house. So there's just different there's different elements of being, different phases or stages of being a mom. You know, we're discussing different things. And the same thing goes for business. It's funny because like with business and motherhood, I was reading, it's like you can kind of use them interchangeably because it's like, you know, as a mom, you
Yes.
have to stick with routines and schedules, and you have to be strict, but then
Mhm.
you can't be too strict because they still gotta like you. And it's the
Oh
same with
yeah.
running.
Oh yeah.
It's the same with running that business. You have to have routines and schedules, and you know, if you have employees, you got to be firm, but you can't be too, you know. But but yeah, I mean, it's just I just wanted to capture the different, like I said, the different phases of both motherhood and business. So that was something that I specifically look for. And I had said that in the casting call. Are you a mom who
And what are you
um
doing?
huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a little delay. I didn't know that you were.
It froze up on me. Hello? If you can hear me, I'm gonna try to. Hello, I see you blinking. Hello? I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, so we're having a little bit of technical issues, but that's okay. We're going to give her a chance to kind of come in. I was trying to go ahead and see if we can scroll in the show for those of you that are just tuning in that may have not had a chance or an opportunity to be able to see her commercial. It's amazing. It's a show called Mom Boss. It's more of a positive TV type show where everybody is actually just kind of.
I logged out and I said, let me look. I am not, this will not defeat me. Now, one thing about it, I was tired, but I'm wide awake now. This is not going to defeat me.
Uh, it's funny that you said that because I have been doing the show for a while now. And let me tell you, I go through the same thing. But you know what? The key is we just keep going. We just
I
keep
hear you.
going no matter what. As long as we don't give no attention to it and we just keep pushing, because guess what? We're going to persevere through this. So go on, girl. Tell your story, girl.
I don't even know where I was at.
You were talking about Mom Boss. So I was asking you, how did you select the women
Okay.
that were on the broadcast? Because you started out talking about women in different phases. You were saying that you did a casting call, and
Yes.
you were talking about. So start from there.
Yeah, so we did the casting call, and I had specific types of mom based on the different phases of motherhood and business. And that's we asked questions
Mm-hmm.
based on that, and the women who fit those roles were offered to be on the show. So it was pretty simple. I mean, at that time I was like, oh my gosh, it's a casting call and they're here for me. But it was, I mean, we had a great team, and we picked the ladies and offered them. I think one of them was like, oh, I don't know, after we told her everything that goes into this, she was like, so
Wow.
but yeah, that's how that went. And then season 2, we kind of scouted. I had been people watching,
Mm-hmm.
and approached a couple of women to join season 2.
So how are they responding to this? Are they like excited, like happy? Are they like nervous? Like, what are some of their responses? Like you said, you just approached them. Like, are they like excited and eager to be on Mom Boss TV, or are they more like, I don't know, I don't know what this is?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Like they're excited because of, you're gonna be on TV, and we're taking the show itself to different platforms.
Mhm.
But then, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what time? Okay, and then when? Okay, and then what? So it's these ladies are working.
Yes. Oh wow. That's amazing. I love seeing like positive TV. There's so much
Hmm.
with all the different types of reality TV. Sometimes it's almost like it's getting so extreme, it's giving me a headache to the
Yeah,
point to where I don't even watch it anymore because I realize with all the screaming, everybody is like everybody wants reality to some degree, and whether it's in
right.
TV or whether it's in YouTube, or everybody wants reality. I just, sometimes that stuff stresses me if I start to look at stuff, and especially when I've looked at one particular program and I have been watching like several seasons. I just could not. This season was just a bit much. I was just like, it's a bit much
Yeah.
for me. I think it starts to, it's just because of the way the world is going, it's just not my cup of tea anymore. Now, as far as your kids, now we were talking even before the broadcast, and you were talking about how you and your children, how you guys talk to our audience about what we were talking about with your children and entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that I've been planting that seed, just about business, about entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
Um and I mean, they're kids, so it's not, you have to kind of approach things bit by bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I get it.
yeah, but they are receptive. And so I told them, so I said, you guys want to work with mom boss? My 11-year-old said, like, mommy, can I work with you? And
Oh,
we did a photo shoot, and I was like, hey, you said you want to work with mommy. I said, this is it. Like, I need you to like bring your A game. He's like, okay. So we get there, and he's like, where's the cameras? And I was like, well, this person's gonna be, doing the cameras. He was like, that's it. I
wow.
was like, yeah. I said, baby, these are just pictures. We just doing pictures right
Yeah.
now. He was just like,
You want the main job. He ready to
he
take
said,
your business,
yeah.
girl.
But that's my oldest, and he keeps if I tell him, I say, I have a meeting or whatever, then he's like, got it. So one day we were coming home, and I was taking him to the park in the front of the subdivision, and he was like, Mom, we can't go to the park. You got a meeting at like 6 o'clock. And I was like, baby, I'm glad you remember, because I sure forgot. I was like, I'm gonna get you some ice cream after we eat dinner, because I
Oh, your
totally
little
forgot. But
assistant.
yeah, so I told him, I said, we're gonna do the paperwork so he can actually be hired. I had been talking with my accountant about
Yeah.
hiring the kids. And then my middle child,
Nice.
that kid there, he told me flat out, he's like, I'm not going to college. And
Wow.
he's 8. He told me this at 7. And I thought he was kidding, but he like that too. Like, nah, you can keep that. And I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? How you gonna provide for yourself? He was like, I'm gonna buy a house, and people gonna pay me to live there.
Okay.
And I was like,
So he wants
okay.
to do real estate. He wants to
He
do
wants
it real
he is
estate.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
said that. And he got that concept from my dad. My parents had purchased a rental property, and he was like, so are they moving? And I was explaining, no, Grammy and Papa, or they're gonna have somebody live there, and the person's gonna rent, and explaining that idea. He was like, okay. And then 6 months later, he tells me, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Wow. That's all sometimes our kids need is just a little bit of exposure to,
Yeah,
like, my kids were like the same scenario that, we didn't really have a whole lot of entrepreneurship conversations.
hmm,
It was just our lifestyle. So it was just kind of like our way of life. Their dad and I
right,
have always been entrepreneurs. So that's all they know. So they're more likely to go into entrepreneurship than they are to work for somebody because that's what they're around. And so if
right,
showing them entrepreneurship, it's going to become like second nature to them, and they're going to start seeing, oh, okay, this is norm. Mom
Right.
going out doing her thing. I want to take part. I want to do. My son is going to college for film, and I'm like,
Okay.
oh, please hurry up. I'm like, oh, please hurry up. Hopefully you can catch up with me. And it's
I
amazing
hear you.
that even in the schools that he go to, he can borrow, like he'll have access to all the equipment. So y'all might see Sisterhood Check-in looking like a real TV station, like, you
Hey,
know. But
I'm
all
here
of my
for it.
kids are in some sort of film industry or acting or something. So I don't know. Maybe
Wow.
the Lord's gonna do something with us as a family
Hey,
with filming, or I don't know. I'm open to it. I don't know. You just
I
never
say
know what
go for it.
happens.
I
Yeah.
say go for it because I just feel like, when I was growing up, my dad was like, either college or military, but you're gonna do 4 years
Mhm.
somewhere.
Mhm.
And I appreciate that, and I,
Yeah.
for the most part, I keep that that mentality with my kids. But what I don't want is to let my own insecurities or my own fears limit them.
Mhm.
They are growing up in a
Absolutely.
technology information age, and
Absolutely.
so why not capitalize on that? If you have a good idea
Mhm.
and all of these resources out here, like I would rather them, you know, do something that they absolutely love,
Mhm.
and not necessarily just play it safe. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, I'm definitely going to, we school is first of all, but when it comes to what they really have a knack for, whether it be robotics or my oldest, he's liking like computers and graphics and stuff
Nice.
like that. Isaiah, my middle child, he's like that's the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then my daughter, she's like super artistic. She,
Wow.
colors, glitter. I mean, that's her stuff. And I'm not just because she's a girl, but she'll sit there. You give her a blank sheet of paper, she doing something.
Yeah.
Um,
Creativity. Creative.
yeah, she's very creative,
Creative.
very.
I think nowadays in this day and time is a lot more easier to
Yeah.
actually do entrepreneurship because everything is done electronically and everything is done virtually. It's like
Hmm.
it's so easy to become an entrepreneurship in this day and time. I mean, where it's almost where entrepreneurship back then was, I mean, even when I started entrepreneurship, it was a little tough, but it wasn't that tough because it was just kind of just, people were just, it was just becoming popular. But when I look at back then, and like I had my son on the show like a couple of broadcasts ago, and I was like, you guys have got it made now. Like
Yeah.
I started entrepreneurship. Now, we're collecting emails and we have automation and stuff like that. Automation was a paper going to FSCJ and going to the fairs and putting out a paper saying put your email address and phone number and stuff like that. And now it's like, shoot, you just tap a
Button.
button
That's it.
and you can make it look pretty. So it's
Yes.
like you could before it was like you just got to make the paper look pretty. Now it's like you just tap a button and you could just there's all kinds of ways to make money now as an entrepreneur. What are some of your conversations? I'm just a little curious of what y'all have when y'all talking. Like what do y'all be saying? Like what you want to do? Like what are y'all conversations in entrepreneurship?
Um, I let them, guide the conversation. I'll just make it a point to do certain things in front of them.
Mm,
So I'll
okay.
do, I'll do something about mom boss, or I'll tell them, like I said with my son, hey, I have a meeting. I'll be transparent. Like they know I'm in here doing having a conversation. So they know what's going on. So either before or after, one of them is gonna ask a question.
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
good.
it's just I don't know. I just I try to expose them to certain things. They're always listening. Kids are nosy.
Yeah. Girl, trust me, don't I know? My
They're
daughter,
nosy.
she came in the middle of me doing a broadcast and was like, "I'm watching YouTube. I'm watching Sisterhood Check-in on YouTube while you're on." And I'm like, "Okay, can you go upstairs and watch I'm in the middle of a broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Or it's like, with their they have their savings account, and
Nice.
they think, for some ungodly reason, I don't know, but they think that when they hit their savings goal, they're going to buy a PS5. And I said, no, when you save that money in your checking, because they have that green card, the green light, the green light card.
Green light
Yeah.
card.
So
Yeah.
they have a checking and a savings on that card.
Oh,
And I
nice.
said, it's really cool. And I was like, yeah, when you can save that money in your checking and use that money to buy a PS5. I said, but your savings you're gonna invest. And they're like, well,
That's
what's invest? So now we start a conversation. So when I said I said, I told them today, I said, talk to the kids at your school and see what they'd like to buy. And they were
good.
like, what does that mean? That, I mean, everybody's buying shoes and clothes. I said, then you're gonna sell shoes and clothes.
That's good, Shirelle. Teaching them how to recognize their avatar customer's avatar.
Yeah,
That's amazing. And most parents don't really understand it. We only have our children for a moment.
right.
And what I've learned and just with my little ones is that, you have to make every moment a teachable moment,
Mm-hmm.
because, we're in a time now where we're kind of like slowed down, that we're not able to, unless you're in the medical field or something like that, we can slow down and we have a lot more time together. So, you have those little teachable moments where you're kind of like showing them and teaching them things. Like my 7-year-old tells me, I'm not a baby. I'm a big girl. I can do this and I can do that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, making beds and teaching them about money and teaching them about entrepreneurship. And so alongside, which is I think is great, because I've said in the last week broadcast is that we're used to teaching them about how to be mothers and how to
Yeah.
do all those other stuff, and how we need to, those things are great in its place. I think we should teach them about parenting and domestic things, but I think we should also teach them how to value what God has put on the inside of them. So, and the reason why I said that is because we go through, as an adult and as a person, we go through our ups and downs in life. And
Mm-hmm.
so, at the end of the day, we need things we need to impart things in them that's gonna be solid, that's gonna be not so easily shakable,
Right.
imparting the word of God into them, imparting, the importance of having a relationship with God, so that when you get to those moments, you don't flip and just, and even if you flip, because we do have those moments where sometimes, we flop, but that you'll be able to get to a place where you'll get to your returning place. You're centered, where you're centered. Like you said, I like how you
Yeah.
said that. My son said that to me one time. He said, "Mom, I'm learning how to be centered in my relationship with God, because sometimes life,
Mm-hmm.
just as much of an advantage that we have to be able to have access to stuff, we still have the same problems. We still go through things, and so it's good that you're teaching them. Most people don't understand parenting is work. Especially I
Mm-hmm.
as a mom, it's work, because we have to be everything to them. We have to be moms, we have to be teachers, we have to be entertainers, we have to be groomers,
Chauffeurs.
chauffeurs. We are the Lyft and Uber drivers, to our children. We're everything to them. And so it's good that you're building a life too outside of that, so that you're not putting all of your energy into just only raising your kids to when they're gone and you're in
Mm-hmm.
that syndrome and you're lost. It's good that you're doing something for you too.
I mean, it definitely takes a village. I mean, even with them, teaching them about business and just, like I said, planting those seeds. I'm by no means can I take, full credit. Their dad is an entrepreneur. My dad is, he's really good with money, and he talks to them a lot about money, and like real estate and things like that. I took my 4-year-old. Me and my dad went on a real estate tour. I took my 4-year-old with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had asked the guy, I was like, do you mind if I bring her? My babysitter canceled. And he was like, no, please bring her. Like they encourage this. So it's like, and all really most of my friends, really all my friends, like they're doing something, on their own. And even if it's not a physical conversation, the kids are watching and they see it, so it is taking a village. I just don't want my kids to get to a point where their back is against the wall and they don't have an idea of how they can generate some type of income. They
Mhm.
don't have any, they don't recognize their own talent of how they can provide for themselves.
Right.
But I mean, as far as pursuing this, as far as pursuing, doing mom boss, and it definitely is, it's for me, but it's for them,
Mhm.
so it's a juggling act. I was
Yeah.
reading this book, and it was talking about the word balance, and they were saying there's really no balance. It's all a counterbalance. Like,
Mm.
for a few months out the year, I'm like full on, mom boss. We're eating some Stouffer's hot dogs. I'm so ashamed.
Trust
You
me, I
know,
understand. I
I'm over
understand.
here right now, but once I get this going, I'm back over here, and we gonna do the ham and the collard greens and the rice and
Mhm.
things like that. I got you. I got you. So it's just like a constant like counterbalance and a juggling act,
Mhm.
especially as a mom. But
Yeah.
um they've been really great. Like I just, it amazes me sometimes how great they are adapting to everything that's happening.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we're gonna take another quick break, Sherelle, and then we're gonna open up for because we have a lot of comments. So we want to get to the comments and give it the opportunity to engage with our watchers. So thank you guys for watching. We'll be right back after this. All right, and we are back in our final segment with my special guest, Shirelle Jones, and we are just dialoguing. We've had a great conversation talking about entrepreneurship in the last segment with our children and with Shirelle with her new TV program that's been on, I want to say, what, a year? Shirelle's been on in about a year?
Yes, yesterday was our 1 year
I saw
anniversary.
that. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I must have had myself like buried in the sand because when I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh. It was like, you know how when you see a TV show on WeTV, it was like, ooh, 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 I know
Right,
her.
right.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. But it was funny because now I get to go back. Now I'm going to go back and watch all your episodes because I have not really seen your episodes. And so
Yes.
I was looking on your website and I was like, okay, I know it's got to be somewhere around here. It's got to be somewhere. But what I want to use
Coming soon. Coming soon. Like
yes.
we have the trailer. The trailer is on YouTube, but now that we'll be on the network April 7th. April
April 7th.
7th.
And what
Mhm.
network is that going to be on?
It's called the Win Network,
The network.
WYNN.
Okay.
And you can download that on all streaming platforms, Fire,
Is
Roku,
that
Apple.
WYNN?
WYNN Network.
Okay. I'm going to put that in the screen so that everybody can see it.
Thank you. So we will relaunch season 1.
All right.
Like I said, April 7th.
And so the Win Network, what is that on cable? Is that on Roku or where can we find the Win Network?
Yeah, you can find it on Fire,
Oh, Fire Stick.
Apple
Okay.
TV. Yeah, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku. Um, you can download it on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can download it
Cool.
through the Play Store and the Apple Store.
Got you. Hold on. Let me I typed in the network wrong. The network Win Network. So Win Network is actually it's on Roku, it's on Fire Stick, and you
And
said
Apple.
it's on Apple. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. So you're right now you're just kind of like in the process of building up the episodes.
Right now we're getting ready to relaunch, like I said, relaunch season 1.
Okay.
And we're getting ready to actually launch a crowdfunding campaign for season 2.
Okay.
So we'll be setting that out, and hopefully we'll get it going next week. But we've just been in like pre-production and getting everything together, and just the whole everything that goes
How
in,
do you
like the
find
paperwork.
time to do this with nursing? How do you find time? Are you the
Coffee.
only one? Because I know you have a production. How many people are part of your production? It's good you have help.
So the Mom Boss team consists of 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
There's 5 of us, and we're we all have our thing that we're doing. We all have our roles, and then the production company that I'm working with, they have their entity as well. So we'll be working with Powerful Productions, Dr. Sean Powell.
Mm-hmm.
She's taking us under her wing and get
Nice.
ready to take off.
Nice. Well, we have a host of comments. Carolyn said, "Hey, beautiful sister." Hey, Carolyn. Thank
Hey,
you for watching.
sis.
And Khadija said, "Hey, Deej."
Hello.
And Georgia Lawrence says, "Hi, hey, Georgia." Georgia is an attorney here in Atlanta, and it's amazing that you mentioned real estate because Khadija Johnson is in Florida, and she is a real estate agent. So
awesome.
Yeah, and we have Antoinette Williams, which is Yolanda. We know her as Yolanda. This is awesome. She could write a book just on the things she say on here. So many inspirational things and helpful tips.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. We appreciate that so
that.
much. Then she also says it's awesome. And Chris says, yes, entrepreneurship. Yes. We are with it about teaching our children about entrepreneurship. Yes, if you guys have any questions while Shirelle is here, please feel free to let me know. I would love. We can bring you on camera if you want to ask a question. Just let us know in the chat, and we can bring you on, and you can hear. We can answer your questions to the best of our ability. Shirelle, is there anything else you want to add to our viewers to help us understand you a little bit better and Mom Boss and the things that you're doing with your business with Mom Boss? If somebody wanted to start their own reality show or wanted to start their own show, where would you send them? Where would you send them just to start?
There's so many layers to it. I would first start with the message that you want to get across. Like what type of show, what's the message? Like what are you trying to do? What are you trying to get out there? For me, I wanted a positive show that one, I wanted to change the narrative of women in business. And then 2, I wanted something that I could personally relate to. I'm a mom. I'm shifting careers. Sometimes I'm stressed to the max, but I have to hold it together because the kids,
Yes.
So I wanted something that I could like personally relate to. And just, provide a sense of encouragement. It's funny because when I first started out, like I said, just coming straight out of nursing, I said, I want a reality TV show that's like, Love and Hip Hop or Basketball Wives, but I want it to be positive. And it's like, when we went into production and, we're trying to edit and things like that, it's like, that's not the same. That's not possible. You know what I mean? Like those shows are those type of shows for a reason because they are reaching a certain audience. So in just doing like market research and things like that, I realized that the people who follow Mom Boss, they're attracted to shows like It's a Man's World or Braxton Family Values, shows that, there's drama, but it's it's kind of lighthearted or healthy, you know, and there's a lot of like conflict resolution.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I'm taking with me now. So just having an idea of the type of show that you want to do or the message that you want to relay, and tap into your resources. We are in a technology age, an information age. There's resources everywhere. So don't think that your idea is not important enough or too small to, put it out there.
Right.
I was watching Gary V.
Oh, I love
Bannon.
Gary.
I love Gary. I know he is
I still
controversial
can't do the
because
100 pieces of content like he said. Ooh, child,
so
I'm
you know
struggling,
what I'm saying.
baby. Let me
I
tell you.
appreciate what he said, even though like he was telling it to a kid, but he was like, just keep posting it. He was like, oh, well, I only have like 10 followers. So keep posting it. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna jump one day. It's gonna jump, and
Mm-hmm.
then what's gonna happen is, and we all do it. Like if we see a video or something like that on YouTube and it like touches us, then we're gonna go to their page and we're gonna see that they've been on this like for years.
Isn't that something?
And now in just that instance, you got somebody somebody like me that's probably gonna watch bits and pieces of your videos or whatever because of that one video.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that honestly, that's how I got attracted to Gary V, because I'm like, God, he be cussing so much. But then when I started listening to him, I was like, let me see what else he be saying.
He
And
has a
it was like,
non-cursing. He has a I don't know if you listen to his podcast, but on his podcast, he does have like it's called the non-cursing.
nah, I like him for who he is. Because that's all right.
He said he did that because there was a lot of people that wanted to hear his content but they just couldn't get past him cussing. But it's funny because when my son introduced me to his content and I was listening to him and I was kind of like studying him and I was like, he's very authentic. And
Yeah.
I love when he talked about the story where he was saying he was asked to speak at a very prominent place. I mean, it was like high class suit. You couldn't go into the place unless you had on a suit and tie. And he came in his little jeans and t-shirt. He's very like down to earth. And he walked in and he said, yeah, I'm Gary Vanderbilt and I'm here. I'm the speaker. And they looked at him and they said, you can't come in here like that. And he said, well, you invited me here. You invited me for who I am. So if you want me to speak here, I'm not going home to change. He was like, either you want me or you don't. And so they, I guess, talked to the people or whatever, and they brought him in and they had a huge response to his message. And I think his content is amazing because I think why I like him, Shirelle, is because he's very genuine and he's very practical. As far as like his steps, he's not talking about, oh yeah, I started out like this and I had this. He lets you know, look, I worked for my parents with no money for X amount of years, and I just did nothing. And I started to realize, like, wait a minute, it's like you said, you have to figure out what your message is. And I think clarity has to come first. And I think when there's clarity about about your audience and there's clarity about your intention, I think the money will follow. People aren't going to put their money where there's no clarity and there's no vision. Without a vision, my people, my people perish. He tells us, write the vision and make it plain. So those that might run with it. It's hard for people sometimes to run with our vision if they don't really understand what our vision is. So I really love that, that he's very practical like that.
He had said something that really changed just even dealing with the kids. And because I don't know if he has kids, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
he's married. He does. Okay. Mm-hmm. He was saying that his mom would applaud or reward him for doing what's the word he used?
He said, morally. I know what you're talking about. He said, I thought it was the opposite. I thought he said his mother either wouldn't Like,
Because he was like, if he came home with good grades, she was like, okay, that's really good. Good, I'm proud of you. That's what's up. But if he opened the door for a woman, it was like, my God, oh goodness, you are like, it was those type of things, like just being a good person
mm-hmm.
that she just like went above and beyond. And so it like instilled that in him, like, okay, things like giving up your seat for a woman or helping, somebody with their heavy bags, like those type of things, just being a good person, not just being smart.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
great.
he also talked about too on one of his broadcasts is how we reward. He said he doesn't believe in like fourth and fifth and third place and all that stuff. He said he thinks sometimes we overpraise our kids too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens is, and that kind of teaches them to be complacent. He said when we need to teach them that there's only one place, the first place and runner up. He was like, when we start teaching them, to accept third and fourth and fifth place, it's like they lose that desire to be better, pretty much.
Right.
And
Right.
so I was like, wow. And I guess because he's Russian, growing up in Russia and in a different era, in our era, our parents were different with us than we are with our kids. We're a little bit more lenient. Where where my mother was the sucker punch person. She would sucker punch you in a minute, and she like my mother was a thug mom. Like she wasn't like, she wasn't that type of mom that be like, oh, my mama bust you in the face real quick. Why you talking? Like literally, like
Jesus, that's how old school.
my mother was a thug. My mother didn't talk about what she did. You was scared when she didn't talk about it because you knew
Yeah,
if she
it's
didn't say
coming.
anything, if she said it, oh, you could take it to the bank, baby. You finna get it. If you getting it, unless she had company that came over, she have a little company, but she ain't forget. So we're a little bit more lenient in this generation because all these different laws. You can't do this, you can't do that. So some parents, it's a different generation nowadays.
Very.
But I agree with you. I like the fact that he's very hands-on as far as like teaching, his work ethic, and he work for free a lot of the times. And it's amazing because when you see him now, he doesn't live a very lavish life.
He doesn't.
He wears
still garage sales.
Yeah, isn't it something how he goes to a garage sale and he understands making money is an art.
Yes,
it is a skill.
He said he is his happiest. Somebody asked him, when are you your happy? He was like, I am my happiest at a garage sale on a Saturday morning at 8:15 with my coffee in my hand. I'm like, what? But I mean, it's getting to it's simplifying things. I don't know what that was. Jesus.
Yeah. Simplifying, yes.
It's simplifying, and surprisingly enough, that's the hardest. Sometimes that's the hardest part. The hardest part sometimes is trying to simplify things.
Yeah.
But if when you get there, I won't say if, but when you get there, and you're flowing, then comes the reward. But I totally agree. Like having that clarity is so important. I think our following increased significantly once I was able to like verbalize and really put out what Mom Boss is and what I want to do. And that came after like, working with the business coach, Katrina Nicole. Here in Jacksonville. She has a academy called Six Figure Street Academy, and it's like a business boot camp. But it was a 6-week course, but like we talked about laying the foundation, and laying the foundation was, figuring out your why. What is it exactly that you want to do, and why do you want to do it? And then, you start building the framework, and the framework is, I lost my thought. The framework was, who is it that you want to reach, and what is your message? So it was like by the end of the course, you built the house, which is your business.
Yeah.
But once I finished that, it was like, and I started operating with those things in mind of my goals, and like I'm gonna reach a specific type of person. That's when it's like the following just like
Yeah.
Must open.
Yeah. Definitely.
That helped a lot. It helped a lot. I just think in business, you have to realize that you're not going to be for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be for everybody, but you can only be your authentic self. And when you're your authentic self, you're going to attract those people are going to find you.
And I think too, that's why I've started recently an academy called Becoming a Woman of Proverbs Academy, a wisdom academy. And I started the academy for the same reason because I realized, and it's just in business, I've learned that the mindset in business, it has a lot to do with, if we don't deal with the mindset part of how we see ourselves, it affects how we see business. It affects how we see our children. It affects how we see our work, our job. And so that's why I started doing like life classes where we deal with stuff that may to the average person may look like, oh, that's simple. But I have recently taught a class on criticism and talk about different types of criticism and how they affect us and why it bothers us. Because I think it's amazing, because even when I think about, as I was going through the course, I said to myself, I said, man, this is really amazing, because this life class seems so simple, but yet it's the little things that trip us up, that
Absolutely.
that messes with our confidence, that messes when I first started out with business, I struggled a lot with, things that was going on in my mind that had nothing to do with my business. I knew that I had a product that sold, that made money, that helped people. But it was my struggle to present it sometimes with people because of my mindset.
Right.
My mindset is how I saw myself, because I saw myself through the things that I went through. So I felt like if I went through a hardship, even though I might have been business smart and knew how to function in a certain area, if I went through a hardship financially, I would beat myself up and think I'm not good enough to do this. So I would not present myself the way I felt like I could have, because of the mindset. So it just like one of my friends said something that was so important. He put this on his page, and I thought this was like amazing. Just like it takes a village to raise kids, it takes a village of coaches to help you in your vision.
Yep.
When it comes to, producing your vision and stuff like that. So, I have found, and it took a while, my clarity is making sure I help people get through and fight through some of those mindsets, so that they can, get to the point when they can actually see their self for who they really are, and allow their vision to be, operate in full effect. And so if those of you have not signed up for the life class last week and you missed it, you still have time. So you can just go to bit.ly/ why criticism, and you can access the webinar any time of the day, no matter what day or night you want to take it. Just go ahead and log on to the webinar, and you can be able to access about where I talk about criticism. And every week I'm going to be talking about a different subject to help you, so that you can be able to keep your mind in a place where you can be able to be free, so that you can be able to pursue whatever vision that you have. Shirelle, I'm just like so excited. You have really opened up so much to me, and I really appreciate you just being here on Sisterhood Check-in. And people, BET writers and stuff like that. Don't forget about us little folks in YouTube now.
Listen, I definitely won't. I sure won't. I love it.
But I enjoyed you, and I know you have to get back
and
to
I
your
received that too. I received that.
Amen.
Hold on, let me make sure I grab that. Hold on, don't let that go.
Yes.
It's crazy. Today was my last day at work. I left my job. I did. I left my 9 to 5. I did Mom Boss. I did season 1 of Mom Boss, working 9 to 5, and then 8 to midnight I was producing and directing. And I'm still gonna, be working as a nurse, but I'm full time in it with Mom Boss, not just the TV show, but the platform and what I want to do just in my city. But today was just like a jump. But I was saying that because everybody knows that, like, hey, here come mom boss, here come mom boss. Like, let's let it
Nice,
be known, I'm not gonna be here.
nice,
So,
nice.
but they were like, hey, before we
Hi,
leave, let me take a picture. Before we leave, let me take a picture. And so
Wow.
that was funny today. I took probably about just 3, but it felt like a lot.
You know what? Despise not the day of small beginnings, because let me tell you
You're
something.
right.
I look back at I look back at my broadcasts in the beginning, and I'm like, wow, I can see where I'm actually getting better and better and better. And it's
Yeah.
amazing because those small times that you start now, I was working, and I haven't like worked for any body like in some years, but I remember even when I was doing my skincare, and I'm getting ready to relaunch that too. And it's like, but
Awesome.
when I was doing my skincare, I was working, doing a paper route. And I was like, and I was hosting, I had a mentorship program, that I literally had to do by faith. When I tell you, I had a mentorship program for 3 years called Inner Beauty Girls Mentoring Entrepreneurship Program.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first year I had about like 9 girls. The second year I had like 33 girls. And I think the third year, I think I might have like 21 girls. And it's amazing because nobody knew what was going on in my personal life. And I think and I was teaching like entrepreneurship half the day, and then I was going into mentorship, talking about mentorship in the daytime in the first part of the day. But what I started to realize is, even though I had my own things that I was dealing with, I was fueled by helping these young women and seeing the transformation that was taking place. So even though I didn't have everything in my life the way I wanted to, nobody knew,
Yeah.
because I realized that it wasn't important for them to know the details of everything that was going wrong in my life. They needed to see that I was persevering and I was still operating in my purpose, and that my purpose was there was nothing that affected my purpose with them. And that it kind of like started something on the inside of me, and it made me realize that, you know what? You have to get your mind together and you have to get yourself together, because either way, the vision inside you is not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
know,
not.
if it's embedded in you, you're going to do it with or without money. You're going to do it. And it's
Ooh.
crazy because people didn't even know it's costing me $1,000 a week to hold this program, $1,000 a week.
Wow.
And I wasn't even making that much a month. Maybe $1,000, maybe the most, but it was costing me $1,000 a week. And I was thinking, Lord, how in the world? But it was amazing because it taught me how to be resourceful.
Yeah.
And so entrepreneurship for me was different from an entrepreneurship that had everything lined up. I worked at this place. I wanted so bad to work from home, Shirelle. I wanted so bad. I was a mom and I was weary from working. I was working at a security company. I was just tired from working 10 at night to 6 in the morning. And I said, oh my gosh, I just want so badly just to be able to work from home. So I started working at this job in Bay Meadows. They was I forgot what the name of the job was, but it was like you had to go into the place over there on Southside Boulevard. You had to go there and you had to do 2 weeks training in the facility. And then you had to do the rest of your training from home. And it was working for like a magazine company. And I remember I was saying, I kept thinking, I just want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this because I want to work from home. And there was a lot of military wives, Jacksonville,
Yeah.
military.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of military wives that were there, and they had all a fancy, boards set up. They can go to Walmart and spend $10 on a display. And here I am with a little $3 cardboard display, just praying that that this would work because I wanted it that bad.
Right.
And do you know that I became the top salesperson for that industry? You had to work at the job for 2 weeks, 14 days that before you can go home. And I was the top salesperson at that job. And when I went home, I killed it. And I had a little baby. I had older kids. I was going through my marriage. We were struggling to pay bills, and I was killing the sales. It was like it was a natural thing to me. And I was working in my hallway. I had my little desk in the hallway, killing it. And it birthed something inside of me. And I realized I can do this. I can
Right.
do this. And I started, put my hands in different endeavors, started doing skincare, started selling dinners. God, as I had so much creativity, I felt like I was gonna bust if I didn't put some of this stuff into work. I started my own magazine, and it's crazy because Sisterhood Check-in is like a audio video version of my magazine, and I started like really like going really hard, and it taught me how to be resourceful. I knew if I needed this amount of money, I knew that I needed to do this amount of sales, and in order to do that amount of sales, I needed to do that. And I was a struggling, when me and my husband divorced, I was a struggling single mom living on Dunn Avenue in Monaco Apartments. I was struggling. And I was struggling so bad, Shirelle, let me tell you, I was the only person living in the apartments. They was shutting up. They was about to close the apartments down, and it was me.
Wow.
They were, because everybody was moving out because, it was, everybody over there in Monaco, they was like, it was a bad area, so they were like, I was the only one that was there with a lady. It was one lady on the side of me and one lady on the other side of me. And she moved and it was just me and her. Then she moved and it was just me by myself. And I stood there and I had to run my mentoring program. I had to do my skincare program, and I had to put a smile on my face and run a business in the area where I had nothing. And I was going through it, and I was like, oh my God, but it taught me, and my kids, talking about your kids, right? There's many a times I wanted to just buckle fold, just put the towel over my hand and say, I just can't do this. It's too much.
Yeah.
And it's those moments that I go back to when things get tough in my business and I realize this isn't new to you. You've been down this road before. You know how to make it happen. You know how to make things work. This has been your training ground for years, And so that's exactly what I did, Shirelle. I wound up, everything was happening that could happen to me happened. My car broke down. So then I couldn't get to my appointments. And so I had to borrow my sister-in-law's car to go to different appointments, and I made it through. So it's like when I look at entrepreneurship now, I'm like, oh, I got this. I don't, with me, sometimes I have to tell myself, Nadira, stop trying to do it in a way that you feel like it's perfect based on what somebody else does. You have to find your unique creative vibe. And like my business mentor said to me, you gotta teach what you know. You gotta share what you know. And this is why I do Sisterhood Check-in, because, and I'm getting ready to add, I've been mentioning on the broadcast, I'm going to start an entrepreneurial part of this where I'm going to be teaching entrepreneurship in, because there's a lot of moms out there, Shirelle, that want to start their own business, that need money. That need to take care of their kids and have a passion, have a desire. And we know there's things that we've learned in our journey that we can help people. And that is my goal, is to help women to take their vision and say, okay, look, let me show you how to do this step by step.
Yeah.
Because I ain't have it all together. I learned how to be resourceful.
It's true. I mean, I feel like I said, it took a village. Like I jumped out there, and there was so much that I didn't know, but it was my willingness to learn. It was the willingness to once I got past the fear of what people would think and just ask those questions. But I mean, sometimes it takes hitting, how they say, you learn things on the mountaintops, but it's those valleys that really change you. It's those valleys that, sit you down and be like, okay, like you said, this is a battleground. This is where I've been training. This is what I know. And it's just, I wouldn't have it any other way though.
Yeah.
I it felt so good leaving that job today.
Yeah.
It felt so good.
Yeah.
It felt so good. And I'm like, this is what I want. And I've gone without money before. I've been broke before. I remember taking $10 and change to Dollar Tree to go grocery shopping. I
know.
It was, we got creative. I'll just say that we got really creative back in the day. But it's like, here I am now, and I know I'm not going to go back. That's one thing for sure. I'm not going to go back to that point. So now what? What are we going to do? So it's like the ideas that come out, I keep a notebook right here next to my bed. The ideas that come, I'm writing them down, and I'm gonna look into it. What do I need to do to execute this?
Right. And
Because
you know
that's
what
gonna take
I've
it.
learned? I've also learned too that the skills that you learn in that moment, you learn to value, you learn how to value the amount of a dollar. Like you realize that, okay, like nowadays we look at, oh, you got to have all this fancy stuff, and we think about all this stuff we had to have, but back then you had to be resourceful and be like, okay, I only could, I'm gonna have to find a creative way. I can't afford this program that costs this amount, so I'm gonna have to be creative and find my own way to do this until you get
Mm-hmm.
the money to start. Is that something like what you had to do with Mom Boss? Did you already have like money set aside to just be able to be like, oh, let me do this? Or what did you do to gain the resources? Because I know you had to be resourceful to do something like that. Because I'm telling you, I'm looking at that, I'm like, yeah, she spent a pretty penny on that. Like, yeah,
Yeah, a real pretty couple of pennies.
yeah.
Um, it so as far as putting together, I worked with businesses that were willing to do like payment arrangements with me. Like I was already a nurse, so they know I had a reasonable income. So, there was that. And then my best friend who is a financial advisor, she set me up with a private portfolio,
Nice.
and we solicited, I won't say solicited, but we basically, yeah, I guess you say solicited for investors.
Mhm.
So I had, private investors who came in and purchased, like we set aside a certain amount of shares of the company, to make sure I always maintain ownership. But um, I had people invest. I did an event where I sold tickets, and that generated income. Um, those were like, and then really frankly I just went without some things. I didn't go out as much. I cut back on a lot of things, even with the kids. Now when I search something on Google, I put free at the end. Free, look, free near me.
Girl, what you say?
So it's
What
like
you
even
say?
kids events free near me. Like everything I search is free near me at the end, because I'm just be trying to like say that dollar. But this go around, I have a marketing partner and he's awesome. Like we put together EPK, and and that was another thing I did. So with being on that network that I was previously on, I had commercial space. So I marketed to other small businesses to air their commercial during my show.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we put together this time. And this season I'll be offering product placement as part of my sponsorship package.
Mm.
Um there's even we'll even, allow um ad campaigns. We'll do ad campaigns, around your product or service. And then of course the crowdfunding. I've been doing a lot of research on crowdfunding, and people do very well. Like it, I
What
don't
it
know,
do?
they do very well. So I'm like, I'm gonna take, but it's not like, and like no shade, but it's not like GoFundMe. Like you have to really market and advertise even in crowdfunding. And so I
Crowdfunding
just
teach you to open your mouth.
you have to open your mouth.
It teach you to
And
open.
you have to put some content,
You have to
put
put in the
something
work.
out there. Yeah. I was watching some YouTube videos and my sister was helping me. And it's like, some people get out there with these crowdfunding campaigns and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but then you
Yeah.
have some that are like, whoa, and they exceed their goal. So
Yeah.
I believe wholeheartedly that we're going to exceed our goal. And I know these sponsorships are going to come in. Like I have a great team working with me now.
That's good. It's like no matter what it is, entrepreneurship requires investment. It requires
Hmm.
work. There's no entrepreneur that I know that have not put in the legwork. If it wasn't the legwork, have not had to sacrifice something. I don't know any entrepreneur that went in And unless they had everything laid out, but even if they had it laid out to some degree, still had to fight to
So you
keep
got to maintain it.
you
Yep.
have to maintain it. So, I tell people, if you want to go into entrepreneurship, you better be sure, because entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. I'm telling
Mm-hmm.
you, it is not for the faint at heart. And sometimes it's funny because I look at my son, Christian, who does this full time too. All of my kids are entrepreneurs, full time entrepreneurs. It's crazy that
Awesome.
that every last one of them are entrepreneurs, and they do it full time. And Christian, and I remember he was when he left, and he went out on his own, and I was thinking like, oh my God, this boy was selling coupons, what I'm saying, to people in the doggone grocery store. He'd be in doggone Winn-Dixie selling the Winn-Dixie coupons to people, and I'm like, how you selling tickets to people in Winn-Dixie? Like, how are you selling coupons? Like, but he would, and it's like now learning at the lower level how to, it's like almost like it's like something I love. Like, people laugh at me, but I love Forrest Gump. I learned so much about Forrest Gump because he has so much money, but he lives so simple. And he lived
Simple.
like, and I said to myself that at the end goal is you want to be able to operate in your purpose and be at peace about it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're at that point where you're operating at peace and you're helping people, that your vision or your plan is helping people, it won't even matter. Absolutely, Audrey. She said, no, entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. Absolutely. And I realized when I watched Forrest Gump, and I realized he had this big old house, he had a whole bunch of money, but he realized that entrepreneurship was really a position where you can help people and you can be at peace doing it. You don't have to worry about, and he never worried about money. He never
Never.
worried about money. And I think when we get focused on, our gifts and talents being a gift to the world, when we look at it from that perspective, then we won't have to worry, because guess what? Those who will, and those who won't. And I remember Pastor Bell said this to me one time. He said, Eugene Bell, he said, some will, some won't. So what? I never forgot. And that is the perspective that, and that's why I talk about in criticism, about talking about how criticism and rejection go hand in hand. Because what happens is when somebody criticizes us and tells us something, we take it personally, we internalize it, and then we think, oh, and it's like that in business. We internalize when people give us constructive criticism. It tells us, okay, maybe you ought to try it this way, or maybe you ought to do it this way. Then we internalize it and think there's something wrong with me. And that's why people are not successful in business. And then you have to define what success is, because to everybody, success is not the same. If you think of success in terms of just money, then you're going to always feel like a failure as long as you're not having the amount of money that you want. But when you think of success in terms of being able to be at peace and perfecting your gift, because you can have a particular gift in a certain area, but if you don't invest in yourself to perfect that gift, then then people are not going to trust the gift that's in you. So I realize I spend thousands of dollars on development programs and coaching and different things like that to get me in a place so that I can be, and I have been, because it's crazy, I've been that way all along. I just had to realize that, what, I have to stop comparing myself to other people and comparing my success to other people, because guess what you do, God has a certain amount of people assigned to you, and then he has a of people assigned to them. So guess what, Shirelle? The people that you might that are assigned to you for Mom Boss may not be the people that's assigned to me with Sisterhood Check-in, and that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's because you have to stay in your lane.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like that was the biggest lesson. It's like trying, like I said, when I first jumped out, I came in with the mindset of I want to be like this show because I saw that it was, popular or what have you, but I didn't fit it because that's not me. You know what I mean? Like I used to watch those type of shows, years and years ago, but I can't, I don't know who's who. I can't tell you what's going on in any one of them really. I respect the craft. I respect what they're doing. It's just, I couldn't relate.
Yeah.
And once I, started writing and it was like, okay, this I could relate to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the inbox opened up, the emails started coming in, you know, the likes, the shares, the follows. I mean, it just, when
Wow.
you're not going to be for everybody like
Mm-hmm.
that. I have to keep like telling myself that. And even when it came to selecting some of the cast members this season, it was like, okay, like I said, we scouted, we kind of people watched a little bit, and I watched who was liking them. Facebook tell you a lot about people.
Yeah, their
I
analytics.
watch some privacy settings. But I mean, it'll tell you the pages that you like, the restaurants that you like, the books that you like. I mean, and so I, wanted to make sure that those things lined up with Mom Boss.
Mm,
Now, even though like my demographic is like 35 to 45, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be effective with, the 25 to 30,
of course.
but it's just the majority of our fan base is 35 to 45.
Mm.
And surprisingly enough, because we were looking at it the other day, there's a lot more men.
They sneaking and watching, girl. They peep.
They are feeling this. They are like, yeah, she a mom. She got a business. They are liking it. I mean,
Just
it's like
don't get
a
Kevin
very
Samuels on your page. Just don't get Kevin Samuels coming after you, honey. Cause
okay. We can go there. Listen. God is still working.
girl, he is off. You ever heard of him? You heard Kevin
Yes,
Samuels? Ooh, child,
yes.
girl, he is off. At first I was listening to him and I was thinking, okay, I'm hearing things from
No,
a male perspective, baby. Let me tell
that's
you,
not a
I
male
said, listen
perspective.
more. Ooh, I said that's
No.
bitterness.
And then the
Oh,
people that he like specifically selects, because he takes those questions. I'm just like, all
yeah,
I can think, even with the first one, the one that like went really right, the one that went viral, I was like, who hurt you? I mean,
right.
it was, and I ran it by one of my good friends who's a guy, and I was like, what are your thoughts on this? And he was like, I could see if she, didn't have any ambition and she had a whole bunch of kids and this, that, and the third, but she is doing well for herself and she wants a king. She wants, somebody that matches her energy. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you shouldn't look at yourself and be like, girl, you already got 3 kids. That's it. Just go ahead.
When I first heard him, I said to myself, he's dangerous because if he has over a 500,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, because I'm the type of person, I'm a thinker and I like to look at the holistic thing of the holistic view of everything. So I watched a couple of his videos because I wanted to kind of get a fair perspective about who he was. And because I know sometimes, people can clip you and they can kind of sometimes exaggerate things about you. So I started like looking at some of his videos and I was like really shocked because his whole point is teaching women how to get why they're not pretty much good enough for high value men. And I started to think about, and it's like if you're a mother, especially if a single mother, you can get discouraged and think like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna find anybody or nobody's gonna ever want me because of what he said. And
Well, the
then
problem is, and to add to that, and I'm just gonna say it.
say it, girl.
I feel like he does it more to Black women.
He does.
I don't see him saying any of those things to our counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if you're a Black woman and you have kids and
Mm-hmm.
you have whatever you're doing, whatever, if you
Mm-hmm.
have kids, period,
Right.
you shouldn't want, or you need to, like, I guess, lower your standards, so to speak. And I'm just like, I don't.
Mm-hmm. He made it seem like men because he said he did a survey. This is what he said. He did a survey with men because he said his clientele was men. So he was saying he did a survey and the men were saying they did not want. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't a good percentage of men that probably don't feel that way, but I cannot say that
Absolutely.
that's the majority because I was married to somebody who knew I had kids and it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. And when every man doesn't think the same. And when I was listening to him, I was like, that is just pure bitterness. You're cutting. He said something like, it's almost like women bashing, because one lady was talking and he said to her, oh, hold on, you don't cut me off when I'm talking. So she kept talking and he literally cut her off, like in the middle of talking. He just clipped her off the show. And I thought, wow. And these are women that are like fighting to prove their point to him that it is possible. And I said to myself, you're wasting your time, because once a person got their mind made up, I don't care what you say or what you do, they are going to stick to it until the day they die, unless God change their mind. And you have to stop. You have to learn how to hold your peace.
Let him have it.
And let him, and that. I wrote a post the other day. It says sometimes you got to let the know-it-alls know it all. You just do. You have to pick and choose your battle. And I said to myself, I refuse to sit up here and try to convince you that why I'm anything, because I already know who I am. And that's it. Just
exactly
be even the more like, this is why I want to do these life classes, because I'm like, if he has 500,000, 500,000, like 500,000 people, that probably all of them women.
I feel like the ones that are asking him questions, and this was something that I am still, I'm still developing. I'm perfecting, I should say. But I feel like the ones that are reaching out to him are seeking like this external validation. But like you said, you once you know who you are, you don't need it. Nor do you have to defend it. Like,
right.
I'm gonna just let you have it. I did a post the other day too. I was like, sometimes you're gonna waste energy, defending lies. Sometimes just let them have it. You got it.
I told my son that yesterday. I told him, I said, one thing I have learned and still learning is that you have to protect your peace. And and I realize, especially the older we get, it's easy to get all out of whack and lose your peace. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna you down trying to get you to think anything about me. And you have the option and the liberty. Who I am is who I am. Is up to you to research the person that I am. I'm not finna help you research you. I'm not finna do all that. I'm gonna protect my peace. And I realize that when you start dealing with people who don't respect that, then you just withdraw. You don't have to get mad. You don't have to, how to say, don't get mad, get glad. You don't have to get mad. You ain't got to be going off trying to prove them wrong. That's just too much energy wasted in the wrong direction. So and I'm not saying I'm not open for, criticism and people correcting me. Of course, any fair person that do know themselves know that you have to have a balance of being with the right people, to be able to correct you and not tear you down. But I said to my son, I said, those days are over. I said, because I have spent a good part of my first half of my life playing pleasy, pleasy, trying to please everybody. And at the end of the day, trying to be validated. No, validation is for parking,
Wow.
And so I'm not trying to validate. I am trying to I am taking time to identify who I am. And I'm finding rest in who God created me to be. So now, whether you come into my life or not, I feel like if God bring you in my life, you're here for a reason, season, or a lifetime. And guess what? If you're here for a season, I'm asking God to speed up the information. Let me know if you just here for a little while, so I don't allow my heart attached, and you're only here for a season. That's how we got to be. Because that's not. I got to stay free. I have too much to do to be bogged down with what you think about me. I can't.
What you think?
What you think? I got too much going on to be trying to. Girl, please. I got too much going on. I got too much that I have to fight through just in my mind.
Yes.
To add more baggage to me to worry about what you think, girl. Girl, validation is for parking.
I shall be using that very soon.
For real. And I told him, I said, sometimes you just have to let the know-it-alls know it all. You sitting up here, they over here on his show they have convinced themselves that they are going to convince this man to change his mind, and he ain't. So you know what? I listened to him and I said, I ain't gonna ask myself. I'm not gonna ask him a question. I got all the information that I need. So why am I gonna put all my energy into asking you something that I know you're gonna either hang up on me? I'm making my own self look stupid.
Right.
I'm just gonna avoid people like you. That's how it's gonna be. But girl, it's all we've been on here. I told you, Shirelle, you know.
You was right. You know,
look, CJ, look, let me tell you something, CJ. I know you're a CJ. So let me tell you. I told you when we start out, you get relaxed, you get all caught up, you know, and then next thing you know, you be like, whoa, 2 hours done gone. But
you was right. I was like, nah, she don't mean that for.
I told you it happens. It happens. But you know what? Somebody might listen at 2 a.m.
You right.
Know? Somebody gonna listen. I'm gonna tell you, when I was in the shelter, I was listening. I was up 2, 3 a.m. looking for folks doing stuff like this. I probably would have been on, you know, even when we get done here, girl, I jump in the bed, take my clothes off, put my pajamas on, and I sit right up there with some popcorn and I watch Sisterhood Check-in until I fall asleep.
Look, just forward through, like, you know, the first 30 minutes where I was glitching over here. I am so mad about that.
About this program. Well, I have seen it in some cases. In other cases, when there's glitches, the system automatically fixes them. In some instances. Now, there's one instance in one broadcast, girl, I was gone for a whole 10 minutes.
Wow.
I disappeared for a whole 10 minutes. And I'm so glad my guest didn't leave. She just was kind of like talking them through, you know, and
she kept talking. That's good.
Actually, it was like after about 10 minutes, I came back and everything worked okay. So I just told people in the comments, you know, just skip past the 10 minutes when you get to here. But you know what? It's a part of the process. And we're going to be able to look back and be like, remember when?
Right.
And so I embrace the process. I feel I have learned that failure is a part of success. So
absolutely.
Because I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of trying. My thing was I was always afraid of starting. You know, you had to push me to start. I wasn't afraid to fail. You had to push me to start. And so it's like now I realize, you know what, this is a part of entrepreneurship. You know, you have to learn as you go. And then what you find out what works and what doesn't work. And then you make those necessary changes and you go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts for our viewers before we end the broadcast?
No, I mean, I hope, you know, I said something that, you know, empowered or, you know, not affected, but, you know, impacted, you know, your guests, your viewers in some way. And thank you again for having me here. This was a blessing for me.
Yes, and make sure you guys visit Shirelle Jones at www.mombossTV.com. She's going to be relaunching on the Win Network in April. So make sure you guys download. Make sure if you have Fire Stick or Roku or you have the app on your phone, make sure you look for Mom Boss on the Win Network. And you can check her out on Facebook and Instagram at Mom Boss TV. So make sure you guys support her. I can't wait to see it. And I also want to let you guys know if you have a testimonial that you want to share with here on the broadcast of Sisterhood Check-in, make sure you inbox me on Facebook or Instagram at the @handle Woman of Prov. Send me a message and we will go through your story and see if it's a good fit for our show. I also want to share, for those of you that may not know, I did write a book during the pandemic and it was called What Happened to Me? How Did I Get Here? Make sure you go to bit.ly/autograph by Nadira if you want a signed copy from me. Thank you so much for joining us here on the broadcast. Again, don't forget to go to bit.ly/why criticism to sign up for your life class that I'll be teaching every week. Until next time, thank you so much. I have an encouraging word for you before you leave.